All right, so if you run a service-based business, like a digital agency or a sales consultancy, you're all too familiar with this problem. Growth can be a double-edged sword, right? More clients, more revenue, that's great, but it almost always means more complexity, more overhead, more headaches. Today, we're going to look at a model designed to completely break that cycle. It's Interceptly's white label partner program.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the thing that keeps agency owners and consultants up at night. You want to grow, of course you do, but it feels like every new client just adds another layer to your costs and your workload. So how do you actually break free from that one-to-one linear growth trap?
Well, this leads to a problem we can call the agency growth deadlock. See, the traditional model ties your revenue directly to your headcount. You need to serve more clients, you have to hire more people. Simple as that. And that creates this invisible ceiling on your growth and, way more importantly, on your profits. You're not building a rocket ship, you're just running faster on a treadmill.
Okay, just look at the two paths here on the screen. On the left, you've got standard growth. That's the treadmill. Revenue, costs, complexity, everything just creeps up together. Your margins are flat, and your business just gets bigger and harder to manage. But look at the right. Ideal growth. Revenue skyrockets while your costs basically stay flat. You see that widening gap between the two lines? That is pure profit. That's the dream, right?
And this whole deadlock thing gets super specific when you decide you want to add a new high-value service like B2B lead generation. It's the classic chicken and egg situation. You can't possibly justify hiring a full-time campaign expert without having clients to pay for them. But how can you confidently go out and sell that service if you don't have an expert in-house ready to get the results? You can't, so you just stay stuck.
So, to try and break out of this, a lot of agencies turn to what looks like a really obvious, easy answer: white label software. You know the pitch: just buy our tool, slap your logo on it, and boom, you're in the lead gen business. But as many people find out the hard way, this usually creates a whole new set of problems.
And this quote right here just nails it. Software is a tool. Execution is the actual service. And far too many white label offers confuse the two. A platform might give you the car, but it doesn't give you the engine, the fuel, or someone who knows how to drive it. The actual work, the service your client is paying you for, still has to be done by somebody.
And that's the critical point. A software-only solution doesn't get rid of the work. It just dumps it right on your lap. Suddenly, you're responsible for all the campaign strategy, the technical nightmare of setting up domains and warming them up, writing all the copy, A/B testing, the daily optimizations, troubleshooting, and of course, all the client reporting. You haven't bought a solution. You've bought yourself a brand new, very demanding job.
So, if software alone isn't the answer, what is? Well, this is where Interceptly's done-for-you approach comes in. It's designed from the ground up to be a complete delivery engine, not just another tool you have to learn. And this is where everything changes. You stop being a software reseller and become a true delivery partner.
So what do we mean by a delivery partner? It's exactly what it sounds like. A partner who handles everything. We're talking from the very beginning, campaign strategy, copywriting, all the way through to the daily technical work and optimization. But here's the most important part. They do it all completely invisibly, acting like a seamless part of your own team, all under your brand.
So, the big question is, how does Interceptly actually pull this off? Well, it really comes down to what they call the 3 pillars of their partnership model. And this is what really separates them from pretty much everyone else out there. Here they are, the 3 core differentiators. First, their proprietary buyer intent intelligence. Second, the fully managed end-to-end campaign execution. And third, a dedicated branded campaign performance team that works directly with your clients. Let's break down what each of these really means. Okay, this first pillar is a flat-out game changer. Instead of just buying a cold, static list of names based on job titles and blasting them with emails, Interceptly's technology, called Signilio, actually identifies prospects who are already in an active buying cycle. It can tell when they're researching solutions, when they're looking at your competitors, which means your client's outreach is perfectly timed and unbelievably relevant. Now, having that incredible data brings us to Pillar 2, the actual engine of fully managed campaign execution. This is where the whole done-for-you promise becomes real. And that work is delivered by Pillar 3, your branded performance team. You don't just get a software login, you get an actual team. A dedicated account manager for strategy, a campaign manager for all the daily tweaking, and support executives for live help. And the best part? They introduce themselves to your clients as part of your company, operating under your brand.
Okay, so that's the how, but what does this all actually mean for your business, for your bottom line? Well, this is where we loop right back to that ideal growth chart we looked at a minute ago. The advantage here is true, profitable scalability.
The point is this, and it's really simple. The entire model is built so that you can pour all of your time and energy into what you do best, building relationships and closing deals. You scale your client acquisition, and Interceptly's entire infrastructure scales the delivery right there with you without you ever having to hire a single new operations person.
And the results? They speak for themselves. Because you are in complete control of the price you charge your client, and Interceptly handles all the delivery at a fixed cost to you, partners are typically seeing gross margins between 50 and 75%. That is how you unlock that ideal growth curve, where revenue climbs but your costs stay put.
So really, it all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. You're not reselling a tool. You are selling a complete, done-for-you lead generation service powered by Interceptly's engine but delivered 100% under your brand.
Think about it like this. You own the client relationship. The strategy, the conversations, the billing, that's all you. Your focus. Interceptly just handles the entire messy, technical, operational lift completely behind the scenes. It's the cleanest possible way to grow.
Which brings us right back to the beginning. If you've been stuck in that deadlock, wanting to offer this kind of high-value service but being terrified of the operational nightmare, well, this model was designed specifically for you. It completely separates the selling from the doing.
So if this sounds like the growth model you've been searching for, the next step is to apply. Now, it's important to know Interceptly actually limits the number of partners they bring on in any given region. They do this to maintain quality and protect their partner's market. So it's an application, not just a simple sign-up, to make sure it's a really great fit for everybody involved.